Hello, Earthlings and unspecified beings on other worlds. Welcome to the latest in my series of musings on my favourite science fiction novels. This is number 14 in this occasional series, and it's been a fascinating journey revisiting these stories and talking about them. Just a quick note that, as always, there will be some spoilers ahead, but I will attempt to avoid the critical details. Today, we will be talking about a groundbreaking book, a hugely influential book that even introduced new language and concepts to society at large. That book is Neuromancer by William Ford Gibson, an American author but long-time Canadian resident. With this novel and his subsequent works, Gibson helped define the language and iconography of genres such as cyberpunk and steampunk, and he coined or popularised terms and concepts such as neural networks, data matrices, transhumanism, human-computer interfacing, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and much more. He is specifically credited with coining the term cyberspace, meaning widespread interconnected digital technology. So Gibson himself does not claim to have invented any of these concepts, but he did synthesize and brilliantly weave them into the very different world that he built in this book and its sequels. And the vocabulary of Neuromancer is unique. Even the title itself is an evocative pun with multiple meanings. Neuromancer is part one of a trilogy dubbed the Sprawl Trilogy, and the Sprawl being the extended urban metroplexes that in the undated future of the books straddle the planet Earth. An excellent visual analogy for those would be the city in the movie Blade Runner, which Gibson had actually seen while writing this novel. So the story is that Henry Case, the protagonist, is a burnt-out hacker, a console cowboy, who is recruited by Molly, a razor girl, to do a job for a shady ex-military man, Armitage, to pull off a series of heists. Now, Armitage himself works for a hidden employer that is revealed later in the story. Now, razor girls, like Molly, are contract killers with body modifications, and Molly has several of these, and especially impressive are her Wolverine-style claws. So medical technology in these stories has evolved so far that almost everything is possible. Hackers like Case have nervous systems that enable them to jack into the Matrix, which according to the book is a graphic representation of data and computer networks. And there is indeed a lot of description of these within the story. What it's like to be inside those, and it's a consensual hallucination experienced by billions of users, also known as cyberspace. So Case cheated an old employer who damaged his nervous system, preventing him from jacking in, but Armitage restores his system and does some other organ modifications, preventing Case's habitual drug use, much to his annoyance. Throughout the story, various exotic human team members are recruited, and the team travel to various cities on Earth and even into space, into places like the resort of Freeside and the independent space settlement of Zion, where Case meets a critical person who will aid him. And the story throughout the book proceeds at a dizzying pace and introduces several fascinating elements for me. There are sentient but bounded artificial intelligences, two of which, Wintermute and the eponymous Neuromancer, play key roles in the narrative. Case can converse with these AIs in cyberspace, and also within this matrix, he meets and interacts with reconstructed personalities of physically deceased humans. In fact, jacked-in humans can even escape into cyberspace permanently if they wish, or have their personalities copied, which then live a separate existence. Now, stripped of all of these concepts, the basic story framework is a standard heist plot, but it is set in such a different environment and with such a different vocabulary that it makes it seem entirely new. Character motivations are radically different from expectations. Even the AIs themselves have differing motivations from each other. And in fact, the two main AI personalities and their opposing goals are key to the story development and resolution. The reconstructed personalities, both physically human and ROM-based, act in unexpected ways. And in the middle is Case, who's just trying to get by and do right by himself. His one true emotional driver, other than his love of being jacked in, is guilt over his girlfriend Linda Lee's death, which is exacerbated by encountering her reconstructed personality in cyberspace, which is unsettling indeed if you think about it. And the whole book feels very inhuman, and indeed describes a world where the very concept of human as we think of it today is becoming redundant. Those lines are very blurred in this novel. So there have been multiple adaptations, games, comics, plays, audio, and even an attempted opera of this story. But so far, a movie has proved elusive. And I hope one day that somebody really does have a go at that properly, because that would be a fascinating movie done correctly. But the influence of this novel and its sequels is everywhere. And movies like Strange Days or The Matrix, games like Cyberpunk 2077, animes like Ghost in the Shell, and countless comics, books, TV shows and games all have elements of or references to Neuromancer. It's a very deep influence indeed. It's a wild ride as a read, and it's kind of like nothing else you will ever read. And just for that alone, I think it deserves the label classic. Well, that about wraps it up for Neuromancer. Thanks for watching. Many thanks to those of you who have also watched my previous videos on science fiction novels and short stories and have left me feedback and discussion on those. I do appreciate it very much, and I appreciate all your support of this channel and my videos. I will be back soon with another science fiction classic. Till then, stay well and remember to look to the future.